Welcome to Daily News Nuggets. This is a recap from our earlier broadcast. It's a new show that brings you the latest headlines that impact the Kid Broker's current and potential future stock. You can tweet the show at KidBrokers or shoot us an email. It's dnn@kidbrokers.com. But the best way is to chat with us during the live broadcast. We can pull it up at any time, and we're live every day, 1:30, 12:30 Central. Overall, with the markets rally today, it looks like Kid Broker's portfolio is back to doing much better. We're going to talk about Trump's speech last night. Now, normally we do not talk politics on the show here. We try and avoid them. We follow them in the news, but overall we try to avoid that as much as we can. But last night Trump gave a speech to Congress, and there's a big market rally today, so we've got to talk about it. I was watching it last night, and I was watching the recap from the speech, and I was watching both Fox and CNN to see what they had to say about the speech. And of course, each was skewed, left and right. Not surprisingly, what I saw on CNN was they were talking very negatively on how the speech went, and on Fox they were talking very positively on how the speech went. One of the things that I caught on Fox was they had Trump's transportation secretary was on the show. It was Hannity, I think it was. So the transportation secretary was on there, Elaine Chao, and they were talking about this $1 trillion, this infrastructure plan that they are going to have. They're going to attempt to allow the private sector to fund it. And they used as an example of, Hannity said, well, explain that to me. And he used a very simplistic example of basically allowing a company to put their money up to buy a bridge, build a bridge to help our infrastructure, and then they could just set up a toll on that bridge to get their money back. And the transportation secretary said, yeah, that's a good simplistic analogy. We don't think people will, necessarily go for tolls. They don't like tolls, but basically, yes, that's the idea, is that a private company could fund it, and they would figure out how to get their money back. And they would strike these deals, and that's what they would put into rebuilding the infrastructure. And she also noted that when she talked about infrastructure, it wasn't just roads, but also broadband, which we need some help with our broadband, obviously, if my live stream's got some issues here. But countrywide, across the country, broadband, energy, everything that goes into that. So they're opening it up to private companies. Now, who are the private companies that could put up this type of money? And if I did some research this morning, I wanted to see who had the biggest stockpiles of cash, and I just did a quick search. And Apple's cash reserve is the largest, $216 billion. The top 5 companies, and it's no surprise here, with the money is Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, you know them as Google, Cisco, and Oracle. And just those have $504 billion. So they've got $500 billion right there in just the top 5. And I think it had the total in here. Let's see. It was a couple of trillion. If I can find it here. Overall, yeah, 2 trillion. 2 trillion sitting out there in cash reserves from these companies. Publicly traded companies, private companies, but these are the companies that will fund this infrastructure overhaul that Trump is talking about. So, very interesting that he met with all of those people that were in the top five, and it was all a very productive meeting. And you better believe that if they are allowed to put their money up and fund this, they'll make their money back. Whether it's with government guarantees or something, they'll structure it a way to get their money back. And all of those companies are now on our watch list to buy, because I think if we can find a way to get their money that they have tucked away overseas back over here, and Trump wants to do that regardless because it'll look good for him. They'll put that money to work, and it will see a huge boost in the economy. And I think if they do this with the infrastructure, that is one avenue to get the money back, and those companies will put that money to work, and they will make more money off of it. Here's the latest, on Buffett. Warren Buffett, they call him the Oracle of Omaha, one of the richest men in the world. He has been buying up Apple like crazy, and he now owns 2.5% of Apple, millions of dollars, and he's made millions of dollars as they've reported record earnings and their growth. So if he's taken a position there, I would say it's a safe bet at this point. And if they get in on this infrastructure rebuilding and overhaul, if that goes through, you're going to see the cash come back, and you're going to see Apple stock just pop like crazy. So we are still very bullish on Apple. I think it's a great stock to buy and own for various reasons. We've talked about them on the show here, and we're going to continue to follow them. But all of those companies with that huge amount of cash, I would be watching very closely to see if they start striking deals and this infrastructure overhaul goes through. Obviously, speculation on what those companies are going to do with their cash, but definitely something interesting for us to keep an eye on. That's it for this recap. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. We welcome your feedback. Leave them in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe so that you're the first to get the latest headlines. Thanks for watching.